Hello, hello, hello. I'm Melody Pittman, welcoming you to episode 11 of 100 Things West Virginia podcast. Today, we're going to be chatting with Kelly Steele from Visit Putnam, which is West Virginia Tourism Department. And for those of you who do not know, Putnam County is between Huntington and Charleston, plus along the well-traveled I-64. So who am I? I'm a writer, influencer, and author of 100 Things to Do in West Virginia Before You Die, transplanted from wild, wonderful West Virginia to Vero Beach, Florida, and now residing in Mesquite, Nevada. I own Wherever I May Roam blog, which is shared on MSN, and I co-own Southern Travelers Explore Travel Conference, which brings CVBs, writers, and influencers together from around the country. Besides my own blog, you can find my work at Travel Awaits, Matador Network, She Buys Travel, Business Insider, and more. One of my favorites is being a contributor to USA Today 10 Best. Though I no longer live in West Virginia, I still visit several times a year and share content and stories about our beautiful mountain state whenever possible. So without further ado, let's welcome Kelly Steele, Executive Director of Visit Putnam, West Virginia. Yay, the crowd's going wild.
Hello, thank you.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, Kelly.
Well, I have worked for 25 years now in marketing, and for the last 8 of those years, it's been in destination marketing. And I came to the job here in Putnam County and thought, oh, it's fun. And I've been in marketing for almost 20 years at that point, and surely everything I know will translate. And I figured out about a month in that I had a lot to learn and quickly fell in love with the tourism industry and have worked in it ever since.
Well, you don't look a day over 30, so let's just add that. I'm seeing her. Unfortunately, on the podcast, you can't see her, but she just looks so young. She looks like one of my kids. You have brought a lot to Putnam County because having lived in West Virginia, Putnam County is really just not someplace you would consider a destination. And that has all changed. And I'd like to say that you're probably responsible for a lot of that. So congratulations. That's really big accomplishment.
Well, thank you. That I certainly don't feel like I can take any credit, but our office does work hard to make sure that folks know what there is to do here. And so our job is to take what's available and do our best to support it, and then get the word out so that other folks know what's available here as well.
Wonderful. Your website looks great as well.
Thank you.
And I will just go ahead and tell you, if you're interested in looking at the website, it is visitputnamwv.com, and they use the hashtag PutnamWV. So if you're on social channels, you can search for that and see a bunch of great shots of Putnam County.
That's right.
So I'm hungry. So let's dig in with the delicious food offerings in Putnam County, and I'll let you just take the lead.
Yeah, I think I'm always nervous to leave somebody out, but one of the things I think is surprising about Putnam County is that for the size of our community, we have such a wide variety of really good locally owned restaurants, local food, and a good variety of flavors as well. So if you want like down home country cooking, we've got a couple of spots like Tammy's Country Kitchen over in Fraser's Bottom, for like standard, what grandma would have cooked.
Right.
And then want more like modern farm to table Appalachian inspired cuisine, Bridge Cafe and Bistro over in Mid Valley Square, which is right in the heart of Tays Valley. They offer like a more modern twist on Appalachian cuisine. And then there's Italian and Mexican, right, and a lot of great flavor. Our kind of newest restaurant in the valley is Sergio's Steakhouse and Cucina. So it's an Italian steakhouse, very good pastas. I haven't had the steak yet, but I have eaten there 3 or 4 times already, and it's just delicious. The service is great. The food's wonderful. So yeah, I think there's just a lot to choose from, particularly for such a relatively small community.
Right. Well, I'm not going to let you stop there. Before I dig into a couple restaurants that I wanted to talk about, I wanted to mention or ask, I guess. So that little area that I would have thought is St. Albans with Mediterranean Breeze and Red Line Diner, that's actually Putnam County.
It is. The line is just a little bit south of there. And so those 2 spots happen to be in Putnam County. Red Line Diner is kind of a fun, classic diner spot, and I think they have some Italian food as well. And then Mediterranean Breeze has everything from flatbreads to kebabs. I love the tabbouleh there. lots of fresh options, fresh lean proteins, lots of vegetables, great homemade hummus. And they have a patio that overlooks the Kanawha River. So, and it's all seasons. They have heaters out there for the cold
Right.
months, and they'll open the sides for the warm months. And it's just a great place to sit out and enjoy the view.
And it's a popular place. I know a lot of friends
Yeah.
go there. Can you arrive
Mhm.
there by boat to Mediterranean
No,
Breeze?
I'm not sure if
Okay,
I believe they
maybe
take
somebody will hear this and let us know.
yeah. I've
Okay.
only arrived by car, so
Okay, all right. Three places I want to talk about real quick.
yeah.
So I am not familiar with Fairways Bar and Grill. And I will say that a lot of the restaurants in your town either talk about bistro, cafe, grill, or bar. Like they have all those words in it. So it's a little bit confusing just looking at the mass list of them. But
Yeah.
Fairways Bar and Grill, I was drooling over
Mhm.
the photos. I wanted to
Mhm.
just tell everybody who's listening that they have a Saturday brunch with a mimosa flight, and they have hot
Mhm.
honey chicken and waffles. They also have a Monte Cristo. I'm not going to go for that because it's not a traditional Monte Cristo. The Monte Cristo is actually the French variation of a croque monsieur, and they do have that. So I was
Mhm.
like, oh, yeah, hello, sign me up. And they have a tiki bar. So I don't know what that tiki bar is about. They didn't have anything on the page, but I'm very curious. So,
Well, it's funny. They have done a great job at Fairways of making it a beautiful elevated spot. And it is right smack beside a gas station. So you might miss it
okay.
if you don't know what you're looking for, but it is right on Tays Valley Road next to attached to a marathon station. But they have a beautiful outdoor dining area. They do have a tiki bar. There's always sports on in there. And then more traditional dining room areas. And they have a large menu, especially for such a small restaurant. They have a lot of options to choose from. I really enjoy the baked feta appetizer there. It's delicious. They have really good salads. I mean, and they do specials quite a bit too. So if you check their social media, you can find what their specials are, and they do a lot of events as well.
A staple in Putnam County, even when I lived there, was Fireside Grill.
That's
And
right.
it's really nice when you have a restaurant of that caliber that delivers a consistently good meal. They have good service. Something I wanted to mention, they have brunch also, but they have a brunch pizza. They have eggs Benedict with jalapeno bacon. How good does that sound? They have a crab cake Benny, and they have their award-winning pecan bread pudding, which I remember is just glorious. But I
Mhm.
wanted to give a shout out because it takes a lot to impress me. I travel the world and every great now and then, like I'm really impressed that a lot of places in your area use hot honey because I'm all about some Mike's hot honey. The appetizer list, I just want to read through this real quick. This is Fireside Grill, and that's Hurricane. Is that Hurricane?
Yeah, it's right off the Tays Valley exit. Yep.
Okay. So here are some of the appetizers, not all. The jacked potato, potato skins, Bavarian pretzel with queso, fried pickles, the Putnam pepperoni rolls. Shout out to the West Virginia pepperoni roll. A buffalo chicken dip, wings, deviled eggs, a charcuterie board, and their gourmet flatbreads. That's one of the only places in the country I will pay whatever it is, $11 to $15 for a flatbread because you usually get about 17 cents of ingredients. So like I just rule out flatbreads. They're
Mhm.
off the charts delicious at Fireside Grill. And they also have, maybe you've had these before, like my kids will remember this, the fried mozzarella triangles. Like it's the best cheese sticks ever. Like they're so good. So,
Yeah. Fireside, I agree. They're so consistent. Like your experience there is going to be so good all the time. And they're a safe bet. If you are traveling with a group or like if you've got picky eaters, I mean, they've got a decent sized menu and there's just
right,
something for everybody. Like it's just a crowd
right.
pleaser there. The deviled eggs are deep fried. I don't know if you mentioned
Ooh,
that.
yeah, I had them. Yeah,
People
they
love
were
them.
fantastic.
Yeah. And their flatbreads are so good and they have a cauliflower crust that
Yes,
I think is better than the
I
regular
got
crust.
that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
we think alike.
Yeah, so it's my recommendation. They also have some rooms for group seating. So like when we have sports tournaments and things here, that's a place we recommend for large groups to go because
Okay.
they can handle volume there.
Okay. And the last one I wanted to mention, I'm always searching for brunch. So
Mhm.
all over the state. And so last year, I was in West Virginia for 4 months doing a book tour and I was all over the place. And I was in Charleston a lot because that's where my dad lives.
Mhm.
Charleston is not overrun with brunch options at all. They do have like one of the places on Capitol Street has the brunch, or they used to. I'm not sure if they do or not. And then Barcata, I thought was the best breakfast in West Virginia. But I haven't been to Bridge Cafe and Bistro, and I might change my mind that the best breakfast could be coming from Putnam County. So let me just tell you a little bit about don't even live there, but let me tell you a little bit about Bridge Cafe and Bistro. They have paleo and gluten-free menu options, trivia Thursday nights. They have dinner specials, and just one of them listed that the picture was just, oh my God, amazing, was a blackened ribeye over pasta with a mushroom peppercorn cream sauce. Oh my God.
Mhm.
They're
Mm.
also closed Monday through Wednesday, and the menu they put on Facebook, and that's the menu for the week. So I like that they're sourcing things local and everything, but they have breakfast Saturday and Sunday. So if you're coming through Putnam County, headed on I-64 anywhere, and it's a Saturday or Sunday, you'll want to go for the sweet potato pulled pork pancakes with sriracha maple syrup. Or
Yep.
one thing they offer that I was so surprised by and so like impressed is they have a $6 breakfast.
Hmm.
2 eggs, 2 pieces of homemade sausage, and 2 pieces of decent cut bacon. I can't remember
Yep.
what the word was they used. It's not just like your, generic bacon, but $6, like that's a steal. So if I
That
lived there, I could be going every Saturday and Sunday for breakfast.
it is so good. I absolutely love the sweet potato pulled pork pancakes. If I
Yeah.
can get that out, get those words out as a tongue twister. That is one of my favorite breakfast items that I have ever had. And I also love their hurricane hash.
Ooh,
It's so delicious. The portions are good. Like you don't leave feeling stuffed, but you are
right.
full. I mean, it's just a great atmosphere in there too. And yeah, they do source a lot of their ingredients locally. They have a great breakfast and dinner option, so definitely worth checking out. But it's good that you mentioned their limited hours. They're open
Yeah.
Thursdays through Sunday. So
Yeah.
check that out before you head in.
And I'm good with that. So,
Yeah, it's when most folks are traveling anyway, so
so
it's good.
where I'm at right now, the food is just not off the hook. So I'm just going to be drooling and thinking about what we've talked about there. But we're going to move on to another category. And this one threw me for a loop, as I told you last summer, for those listening to the podcast. I met Kelly last year and I came to her area and she showed me around. We had lunch together and I had a book signing at the library there. What I was very surprised to find was that you've got some really great shopping. And I
Mhm.
spent some money at Iris and Indie Boutique. And in fact, I bought a sweatshirt that said Desert Vibes. I live in the Mojave Desert. I've gotten so many compliments on that sweatshirt. So I really wanted to go to Peyton and Peppy, though it
Yes.
makes me think of a Tudor's biscuit every time I read the billboard. But they do. They've done a great job with their billboards. They're all over town.
Yeah.
So
Peyton and Peppy is a great little shop on Main Street in Hurricane, and they have such a wide variety of styles for like all sizes. So all the way up through plus sizes. So
right,
just about anybody can find something cute there.
right,
The prices are so affordable, and if you they do a great job on their social media of posting like new arrivals, and I'm on their email list, so I get an email every week that tells me what the new arrivals are. So it's a great little spot to stop in and shop.
right. And I saw that you have, is it Nandel's, the formal wear?
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a favorite for like
Okay.
prom and homecoming dress shops. It's in
Yeah.
Eleanor, so a little bit out of the way, but
Okay.
people, I mean, off the interstate, it's not that
Yeah.
out of the way, it's 10
Yeah.
minutes. It's worth the trip out there.
When my girls were in school in Charleston, there really wasn't a formal wear shop in Charleston anymore. So we had to go to like down past Huntington, Sarita Canova. I think that
Yep.
was the closest. So yeah, I was pretty shocked by that. I saw the Game Grove. You've got a hobby and a craft store. You've got not maybe they're antique stores. Are they antique stores or thrift stores or like primitives and stuff like that?
Yeah, there are several, a couple little primitive stores, like Country Gatherings, I believe. But
Mhm.
then there's also recently opened Valley Vintage, which is like a, a vintage and, oh, what do they call it? You know, like you have
Crappy chic.
oddities. Oddities
Oh,
is
oddities. Okay, yeah.
like they recently had like a podium from a funeral home, like where you'd sign in.
Oh yeah.
Where you'd sign your name in if you're, there for visitation. So those kinds of unusual thrift finds at Valley Vintage, and that's in downtown Hurricane.
Okay, awesome. Well, it's springtime, so that means that people are going to be visiting farmers markets and fresh food stands. And I know that you have quite a bit. So tell us about your market scene.
Sure. So Putnam Farmers Market is our oldest established farmers market here in Putnam County, and it is open on Saturdays, May through October from 9 to 1, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Saturday. It meets in the field right beside the Exxon, so that sounds kind of strange, but it's right off the Taze Valley exit. If you come off the Taze Valley exit, head north up 34, you'll see it on your left. There's a big wide open field. It's super accessible. And then we have a new farmers market that is just opening this season at Valley Park called Country Roads Farmers Market, I believe. And I think their hours and timeline is the same. So through the summer, Saturdays. And then if you're looking for something a little more year-round, we do have Grits Midway Greenhouse, which is a great place to buy plants and things. And that is in, well, Midway. It is midway located between Eleanor and Buffalo. So it's a great spot. And they do a lot of planter workshops and things. So you can check out those events. And then Grits Farm, which is a whole other ball of wax I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute, but they have more than just their greenhouses, but their greenhouses are open to the public, both for plants and for produce.
So grits is in our book, our 100 Things book.
Mhm.
And I probably 20 years that I lived in West Virginia, we used to go to grits, which I'm assuming is that grits.
Yes,
Buy
Grits
our plants
big.
and fodder, like all the Halloween decorations and everything. They always had such a great
Yeah.
selection of pumpkins and the hay bales and all that sort of thing. So
Yeah,
that is your biggest attraction.
it is. So Grits Farm is our biggest tourism attraction. And it is most well known for the Fall Fun Farm, which occurs mid-September through the end of October. And they bring in like 30,000 visitors in those
Wow.
6 weeks of the Fun Farm. That's hay rides, pick your own pumpkin patch. There's a corn barn now where it's like a ball
Oh,
pit
that's fun.
filled with corn. Kids can play around in apple cannons and a whole little village area where you can get like homemade donuts and caramel apples and kettle corn and all those fun fall snacks. And so that is a must see if you're visiting Putnam County. And then the fun thing about Grits is that they recognized the opportunity to expand outside of just the fall harvest season. So they also offer farm to table dinners monthly, April through August. Once Fun Farm season starts, they have to, it gets a little busy. So they do those, and they'll do a low country boil in the summer and some other like single events throughout the summer months. And then this year they launched their spring festival. So they planted 100,000 tulip bulbs and it
Wow.
ended, but people could go up and, you know, tiptoe through the tulips and take
Yeah.
photos and purchase flowers from the greenhouses and also have snacks from the little village there.
Right.
And they have in the works planted Christmas trees to have a Christmas tree farm.
Oh,
But
that's awesome.
that takes a few years.
Yeah.
So I think they still have another year or 2 years before that's gonna be accessible to the public. Nobody wants
Wow.
a Christmas tree, so
Yes,
wait
I
a few
agree.
years to
Well,
to
that's fantastic. Like I had no idea about this festival and all this sort of thing. Are they cider donuts? Do you know if they serve cider donuts?
They do.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Ooh,
They're
that's a home run.
good.
Yeah, that
They're
just really sounds like a fantastic thing. And the dinners, I need to get on the list about those dinners because I love those big farm to
mhm.
table dinners. Those are always so nice.
Yeah, and they work with a local chef and
Mhm.
obviously use seasonal ingredients from the farm, and so it's just real creative, and they typically have live music at those, and so it's a great atmosphere.
Okay, and so that's Grits Farm. So we would look
That's
at
right.
Grits Farm website for that. Okay, Grits
That's right.
Farm. Number one attraction, biggest attraction in Putnam County. I did not know that. So wow,
Yep.
that's amazing. And I'm so glad that I'm so glad they were in our book. Yes, they were being proactive because we had to write
That's
that book in 2022.
right.
So before we move on to your biggest draw, which is outdoor rec, let me just let you talk for a minute about you just had a West Virginia food truck festival,
We
and that looks
did.
like it was a smashing success. So can you tell me like what time of year, how many food trucks, a little bit about that?
The West Virginia Food Truck Festival began in 2016. And originally it was in Hurricane, and then we kind of outgrew the space there. And so the last 3 years, it has been over in Eleanor at the Putnam County Fairgrounds. And we typically have between 15 and 20 food trucks. and we have live music, and there are some games out for the kids. I mean, it's in this big open field, and so it runs all afternoon, usually from noon to 5, and it has just become such a fun kind of way to kick off the season. Everybody's ready to get out and do something outdoors and be out and about again come April. So it's been a nice kickoff to the event season here in Putnam County.
Very nice. And it did say, I will say their website's really well done, and they had a map, the food truck map, which was really well done. And they
Well,
did say,
thank you.
bring cash if you can. It's always recommended to use cash. You never know what's
Mhm.
going to happen with, credit services and all that. But now
Mhm.
let's talk about the biggie.
Mhm.
West Virginia Pumpkin Festival in Milton. I'll just go ahead and say the dates, October 3rd through the 6th for 2024. And I'll let you talk about that amazing pumpkin festival that I've known and taken my kids to since they were born, probably.
Yeah, so the Pumpkin Festival has been going on for years, and while it is technically just over the border in Cabell County, we still see visitors here that come in for the
Okay.
Pumpkin Festival, and I have gone for years too, and they have literal buildings full of artisan vendors and food vendors, and you can find everything, pumpkin donuts and
Yeah.
ice cream. I'm going to talk about the food, but uh, and then so many wonderful handmade items from West Virginia artists and artisans, everything from soaps to candies to artwork to hang on your walls to woodworking
Right.
items. I mean, you can just find everything there. It's such a wonderful event, and they've got live music. The kids always like to go see the pumpkins. There's a pumpkin contest, and you get
Yeah.
to see these
Yeah.
massive
Okay. So
pumpkins.
am I imagining it, or did I see the West Virginia Pumpkin Festival mentioned on your website for
We
like
may
a,
have listed it as we did list it as one of our events. We do
okay.
not, we know that travelers don't care about where the city or county
Right.
line. And so if people are visiting us here and we just want them to know what there is to do around whether or not it's right here in Putnam County.
So if you're listening, what she's saying is for Putnam County, they have an event listed on their website. I know I didn't just make that up because I mean I've been to it
No.
before, but I know I saw it somewhere on your website. So when a tourism board is secure enough in their position in the industry to share a location of someone else, that just speaks volumes. And so like myself having a travel conference, we think there's room for everybody at the table. And
Mhm.
whenever you're good to somebody else, they're good to you. So kudos for doing that because I know a majority of locations don't. They're scared they're going to miss out on something. And so I commend you for helping out your sister, your neighbors.
Well, thank
So
you.
yeah, well done, well done.
Thank you. We just
Your
want
head's
people
going
to
to be
have
so
a good
inflated when we're finished here.
time. I'll take it. I'm going to want to do these podcasts all the time.
Okay. So let's see. Let's move on to the biggie, the
Mhm.
outdoor rec. And you guys are just blowing up in Putnam County, hiking and biking. Where does one go to do this? First of
Yeah.
all? Yeah.
Well, we have several trails here. So I'll start with some of the older, maybe more well-known ones.
Okay.
Even though they're a little bit of, some of them may still be hidden gems to folks. We do have the Mary Ingalls Trail, which is over between Winfield and St. Albans. And it's an out and back trail. It can get a little bit grown up, so make sure you're wearing like long pants and hiking boots. It's not like a packed gravel trail. You're going to want your hiking gear for that one. Over in on Red House Hill, which that doesn't mean much to folks if you don't live around here, but that is the name of a town. Red House there is a nature preserve, and it is a family left some land, and there is a 1 mile loop. So it's the Esther and Walter Norman Nature Trail. And so it's a 1 mile loop, and it is such a fun walk for kids. There are some markers out there that identify plants and
Mhm.
tree species that it's just a nice easy walk, and so that's a fun one for kids to do.
Awesome.
And over in Eleanor, at Eleanor Park, right adjacent to the fairgrounds, there are several miles of biking and hiking trails. Those have been around for years. They're great. They're great to hike, great to bike, especially if you're a more technical or skilled biker. They're a great place to go ride. And then for folks that might want something a little less challenging, Valley Park in Hurricane has a lot of great packed gravel trails. So And we have the ferry door trail there. So when we have to restock it with ferry doors because
That's fun.
trolls come and steal the doors. You can take that however you want, but we have to repaint and replenish the doors pretty regularly. But regardless, the trails at Valley Park are nice, a nice easy stroll. And then back, my favorite story to tell is about the Minks Mountain Trail system, and those are the trailhead for that is at Hurricane City Park, also right in Hurricane off Taste Valley Road. But back in 2018, we had a community member named Brandon Dorner who had this idea to build a trail system on some private property that was adjacent to Hurricane City Park. And he got a hold of the landowner and got a hold of the people at the city and convinced them to let him start digging these trails. It sounds made up, but this is a true story. And so he and his kids started digging, and then some other people got wind of what he was up to and started joining him out there on the trails. And it grew into this whole community movement where we have now had more than 500 volunteers put in more than 23,000 volunteer hours, building more than 31 miles of trails. So we now have this incredible trail system built completely by hand by volunteers, right adjacent to our public park. And the organization, the Meeks Mountain Trail Alliance, is the nonprofit that kind of manages that trail system. So they also focus on maintenance, and they're working on building out some infrastructure there to make sure that the experience stays nice and that, when trees fall down, they're cleared out. They have such great community buy-in. I mean, if a tree falls, like within 30 minutes, somebody's out there with a chainsaw.
That's awesome.
Clearing the trail often. Now, when we have a big storm, it might take a few days, but it has just been incredible to watch. And so we are excited, and we've started promoting the trails now that we have this great asset. That's a whole other audience, folks that are coming here. We didn't have enough to market our area as an outdoor recreation hub. But with this new trail system, in addition to the more established trails that we already had, it's just a no-brainer. And the really cool thing, I think, not only that story about the Minks Mountain Trails, the other cool thing is that trailhead is right down in the heart of town. And so you've got a bike shop there if you need a repair or a rental. You've got it
Is
right
that
there.
Will Billy?
That's Will Billy's bike.
Will Billy bike. I love the name of that. I've told so many people about this Will Billy bike. And can you rent there? Do you know if you can rent bikes?
You can. Yep.
Okay, great. Okay.
And then there is the Juice Box, which is a juice and smoothie bar right there at the trailhead. And it's right across the street from Whiskey Taco, which is another favorite restaurant.
Absolutely.
Bridge Cafe and Bistro that we talked about. Walked there's just a lot of choices right there, so you can go ride, work up a good appetite, and then go enjoy dinner and a beverage, and right there without having to even travel. We also, the other thing I want to mention about outdoor rec is that throughout the summer we have a great paddleboard outfitter right here in Putnam County, Appalachian Boarding Company. And the best way to get in touch with them is honestly to send them a Facebook message, because they will just, if you're in town and you want to rent paddle boards, you just call them up and they will show up at the easiest place to get on the water here is at Winfield. That we have a beautiful new boat launch area there and a dock, and it is just upstream from the lock and dam on the Kanawha River. So because of the way that lock backs up the water, it behaves like a lake through there.
Okay.
So it's a great place to learn to paddle, even though you're on this big river. It's like learning to paddle on a lake. The water is very still. There's very little current. It's just a really peaceful, beautiful place to paddle. And you've got a great view of the sunset there too. So if you're out and want to enjoy a sunset paddle, it's the perfect place to do that.
Okay. I've never tried it. I've been invited 3 times, and all 3 times I got to the location, it was either too cold or it was raining or something like that. I don't know if I could do it. I'm pretty old, but I might give it a try. So
listen, back in probably 2018, I had gone to take photos of some folks, and I had the same thought. I was like, I don't know if I could do this. I'm not super coordinated. And all of the people taking lessons from Evan, who owns Appalachian Boarding Company, were probably in their 70s, late 60s to 70s. And like I was watching them and none of them looked particularly athletic either. And I remember thinking, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And so I took my kids and we had a lesson like, the next month and I ended up buying paddle boards. I like it so much.
Oh, wow. That
Yeah.
was how I felt ziplining my first time on, at the time, the world's second longest and fastest zip line 20
Oh my,
years ago in Costa Rica. And all these like old cruise passengers were so old. And I was there with my youngest daughter. And I was like, we had to climb up like literally a mountain basically to even get to where we started. And at that
yeah.
time, I knew nothing about ziplining. We didn't have internet to like look it up and everything. So I was like, okay, well, I'll do one. And if I don't like it, I'll get down. Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work like that. So I
Good
was
to do
stuck for the long
something.
haul, but it was fun. So all the things we learn.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so lastly, let's talk a little bit about family fun. So if I come to Putnam County with my granddaughter, I know about the wave pool, and I'll let you talk for a minute about the wave pool, but what are a couple other things I could do with her if we don't want to just do outdoor activities?
Sure. So Waves of Fun, of course, has been around for years and a lot of the locals know and love it, but it is a wave pool. So you can go and close your eyes and pretend you're at the beach for a moment. Great concessions. And when the park was renovated in 2018 and reopened in 2019, it's just a really nice, like they did a lot of concrete work and brought new furniture in. So it's very clean and nice, a great
It's
place to visit.
beautiful. And I went there when I was in high school and I stopped by there last summer. Of course, it wasn't open when I was there. I was there earlier than summer, must have been spring. I mean, it's really beautiful. Like they've done a
Yeah.
lot with it. So,
Yeah, it looks really nice. A couple other fun things to do right there in the park across from the wave pool is the zoology zone. So it started as a reptile rescue center and they still have tons of reptiles and they changed the name so they could, have things other than reptiles. But you
right.
can go, they do lots of hands-on workshops. You can just go and buy an admission ticket and it's like a mini zoo and you can
Okay.
see all the animals and they do programming just about every day and there are some hands-on things they usually bring out like one animal a day that the kids can pet.
Okay.
That's worth checking into. And
So
then
I've never heard of that. I'm really happy to hear about that because I've never heard about that.
it just moved in last summer, so it
Okay.
hasn't been here quite a full year. They
Okay.
had from a nearby facility. And then we have the pottery place. So if you've got an artistic kiddo who likes to paint, that's a great place to pick your own pottery and paint it up. And then we have Reed's Entertainment, which is an indoor mini golf, and they have table tennis and pool and air hockey and all kinds of fun table games. Not table games like gambling, but
Yeah. Yeah. I like their website's really good. They do a good job of capturing like close-up images of the balls or the machines and everything. So like I've already seen that Reads. I haven't been there yet, but I saw that. So yeah, it looks really nice.
yeah, so that'd be my recommendation for a weekend with kids is to hit those places up. And then lastly, we have All About Fun, which is an indoor inflatable
Oh,
place,
okay.
and there's a bakery attached to that, so you can like sugar your kids up and then let them
Yes.
burn it all off.
You've got a couple good looking bakeries down there. I was looking at your website and it's pretty
Yes,
appealing.
do. I
Okay.
can't complain.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to wrap this up, but I've learned a whole lot hearing you talk. And I know that you had mentioned that you're a great stop for people who are going to tournaments. First of all, you have a lot of ball tournaments in your area. You have a lot of sporting fields. And also, Putnam County is a great option for those who are going to bigger conferences or something in Huntington and Charleston because the price point is much greater or much less as far as dollar goes, much
Yeah.
greater, bang for your buck. So can
Yeah.
you add anything else about that?
Yeah, we're only about 25 minutes from downtown Charleston, 20 minutes from Barbersville, where another big soccer tournament complex is, and then about 40 minutes from the heart of downtown Huntington, 30 minutes from the outskirts. And so it's a great central location, especially if you're planning to visit both cities. So I highly recommend you stop in and stay. Obviously, I want you to stay with us, but there's plenty to do too. And it is a great affordable place without having to commute too long to get to either of those downtown areas.
Awesome. Well, I hope all of our listeners learn something about Putnam County, which is, again, the space between Charleston and Huntington. Mostly everybody knows Charleston and Huntington, but Putnam County is going to be a name that you're very familiar with very soon if you're not already. So this is just hop off I-64 and see what treasures they have. And I thank you, Kelly, for joining me and entertaining me last year when I was buzzing through your area. I greatly appreciate that. And I wish you well. Keep on growing. Like you all are doing great things down there.
Thank you so much, Melody. It was so good to talk to you.
And that's it. Thanks so much for joining us for episode 11 of 100 Things WV. And thanks to Visit Putnam for being our special guest.